Alright guys, so today we'll be installing these aftermarket headlights on my Samurai here. I actually like the incandescents. I just like the old school look, but I have to go with it because I could not find a blinker that would fit the spacing in my bumper here. And with these headlights, the blinker's actually integrated into them, but ultimately it's a good upgrade because these are going to be a lot brighter and a lot better overall. So I'll just be going over how to wire them up and whatnot. And yeah, here's a little before and after comparison. Yeah, it's probably not the best, but you get the point. All right, so here are the lights. They also come with a harness, but I'm not going to be utilizing that. It just adapts this prong into like a 3-pin connector. But anyways, so your red is going to be your running lights, and your green is going to be your turn signal. And then here is the original blinker. And then, as you can tell in there is a running light, and in the corner there's also a turn signal. So I will be clarifying in just a moment which wire from which of those plugins go there. And this ground that's on here, you could just forget about it because it will ground out through the actual plugin itself. So let's get started with the install. Alright, so first things first, you're going to have to remove the grill. It looks like there's screws here, here, and here, and then there, and there. As you can tell, that hold the grill on. It does vary on if you have an SJ413, SJ410. I want to put a 410 front end on this. They look way better. But mine's also kind of a hack job Samurai, so you kind of just pry it on out. Come on. Like so. Give a little tuggy tug like that, and then when you hear plastic break, that knows you're getting somewhere. And it also really helps when you have a big old brush guard in the way. I would like to note there is a little plastic stub in the corner that holds these in, so if you just pry open, stop it. If you just pry that open over a little bit, it should help lock it out of that groove. This side, it was already broken off, so it just popped out easy. But if you just give a little pry at the flathead, then it should help get it out of there. Alright, here's the biggest flathead I could find. Oh yeah, that's good for it. Obviously a lot more elegant ways you can go about this, but I plan on redoing the front end on this anyway, so I don't care if she gets a little beat up. It's already beat up. And with enough finessing and cursing and ignorance, she is somewhat pretty easy. A cake, 10 out of 10. Did that in 10 seconds. OEM Samurai grill for sale. Never been used, fresh out of the package. Hit me up. Just comment your PayPal in the comments and I'll hit you up direct. You know, if you squint real hard, it kind of looks like an E30. Next up, all you got to do is remove a screw right there. I already removed one. And the other screw right there, and then this whole headlight should pop out. So very unique design. I'm not used to older stuff like this, but it's pretty cool. So it is held in with like a retaining ring here. And then you just take these screws out around the edges. Then you pull off that ring, you pop in your new assembly, and you put it back on. But my problem I'm running into right now is this guy's just so rusted in there. But I'm going to just peel this back, and this is just going to pop up and pull out like a letter out of an envelope. And there we have it. Out with the old, in with the ricer new. Another thing I'd like to add about these lights is there's a little teeth on the edges, and there's a little imprint on the back of the pot metal plate, and those teeth just lock into those edges right there. And there's going to be 3 little dimples that go all around. There's those teeth that go around right there. And then there's those little dimples in the plate here that they rest in. I can tell in the aftermarket unit too, they also have those little ears and whatnot Probably some people are like, yeah, well, duh, but I'm young, I'm new to some of this old stuff, so sick. And there we have it. As if with any eBay unit, fitment is sometimes a little tight, but I believe I can make this work. And even if it's just a little kitty wampus in this, you can always just adjust it with the screws and kind of bring it up and down. Now upon reinstallation, there is a little spring there, and that just locks into the hole on the bottom right there. Might be a little tricky to get in, but that's just how you get your headlight adjustment in. I found out it's actually just a lot easier just to take the spring out and put it in outside of the vehicle. Now we're just tightening it in. You can already see that spring tensioning up and headlight adjustment doing its job. So pretty sick, and left just to do the other side and then wiring. Alright, as you can tell here, I have the headlight installed, and next up is just to wire up the DRLs and the blinker. So the blinker is going to be the green wire on here. I had these backwards. This is actually your blinker, this is your runner. So it's going to be the green wire. I'm just going to snip it off my harness and then hook it up accordingly here. Got my spade connectors crimped on, and I'm just going to plug it into here and plug them into here. Remember, green is turn signal, and the other color here, it's kind of faded, so it's kind of hard for me to tell that it's going to be your running lights. Next up, actually, before we hook up the vehicle directly to the lights, you're actually going to not want to do that, because the way these work, they do not work just off the line voltage of the vehicle. I found that out the hard way, and it's a week later after the previous clip. You actually need relays, crossover relays, and this will just take power directly from the battery and send it right on over to those lights instead of through the whole harness. So it's pretty simple to set up. What you're going to want to do is plug these into the back of your lights right here and here, and then you're going to want to ground these right here and here. Make sure you have good clean ground. Use some dielectric grease if you can to make sure it doesn't corrode away. And this wire here is going to run right to your positive terminal, or just a good strong 12-volt source. So I'm going to run this straight to my battery because I just want to make sure I have as much power as possible. And then you just find a way to mount your relays, and it's as simple as that. Usually when you get these on eBay, it was like 15 bucks for me. They'll have a whole diagram on how to do it. And there is a little 30 amp fuse in here too for safety. So in terms of finding a good place to mount it, it is going to be a little intriguing, but I'll figure something out. So the style I'm going with, I'm mounting the relays right on the firewall here, and then I'm tucking them behind the fender into the light here. It's going to have to entail me extending these lines, sadly, but that's just the way she goes. I'm going to go 20 inches. So if you're copying me and doing a similar setup, go about 20 inches and it should work for you. And then after I get that figured out, we'll hop on next to the driver's light and get the measurements on that as well. One side done, one more to go. I got this tucked over here. Looks like this ground cable actually reaches perfectly, so I didn't need to extend the ground cable either on this side right here. Only the power leads. But I'm gonna go about, that's how far it is from the connector. I'm gonna give it a little extra, give it 15 inches and maybe even tuck it down on in there. Yeah, as for my grounds for the lights, I just tuck them right here on these little front end gussets right underneath this here bolt. That's also a ground for your side markers and whatnot. So I'm gonna hook it all up here to the battery, and we'll see how bright they are in just a moment. I'm lying, I know how bright they are because I saw how bright that one was, but now we'll see with both. Alright, harness installed, and lights work splendidly. A lot brighter. Video does not do it justice. That's kind of cool. You can actually see through the relays there. They're the clear relays. You can see them making contacts. The right relay is your high beam relay, and the left relay is your low beam relay. But this is what they look out the front. This is just with them flipped on, normal night driving, non-high beams. Has the little halo around it. Truthfully, I love OEM looks, but I had to do what I had to do for my blinkers. Right now I don't have my harness plugged in, or my cluster plugged in, so I can't turn on my blinkers properly. They only work on hazards. So that's kind of a poor example of what they look like, but it's really sick. And for the daytime running lights, it's just the halos on. Overall though, super easy install. Only cost me about roughly under $100. I had to use some extension trailer wiring to make it all work out in the end. And I later found out about the relays. Apparently I needed those. So the two things you're going to need is the relays and the headlights. And besides that, it should work fine. You are going to have to extend your wires too, actually, so make that 3. Then make that 4 because you're going to need crimp connectors, and 5 if you need to get a crimping tool. But truth be told, I assume most of y'all already have that. But super easy upgrade, and I wish I could show a night driving difference, but I just can't at the moment because she's still under the scalpel and has a lot of other things that needs to be done, like missing links. Gotta change over the intake manifold out for the Weber into the Toyota, etc, etc, etc. And I gotta CLR it because someone decided to run hard water through this, so there is a bunch of scale, and that's no bueno. But thanks for watching the video, guys, and have a great rest of your day.